to the stage to let us know what's really going on and teach us about the Justice for My Jewel campaign. Dr. Malloy.
Well, I'm going to do something a little different this time than what I normally do when I give this presentation. I'm going to start with a little bit of anatomy, and you'll see as I go on why the menses is so important, why there are so many grassroots organizations now, okay, talking about it, why you have 2 congresswomen trying to get bills passed concerning menstrual products, why there is something now, Menstrual Hygiene Day, May 28th is Menstrual Hygiene Day, celebrated globally. So people are not afraid to talk about something that is extremely important, because now we're understanding that a lot of the illnesses, a lot of the discomforts, a lot of the behavior of women may be associated with some things that they thought may have been safe for the body that we know now are not. So let's talk about a little bit of anatomy, why women are different than men. Now, I'm sure all of you can think of 1,000 reasons why women are different than men, but do you realize that the woman's body is set up such that something from the outside actually can get inside her abdomen? Now, let me explain what I mean by that. I'm going to take a man first. Okay, the only orifices, okay, of a man always stay within a tube of some sort, whether it's the intestines, whether it's the urethra. It stays encapsulated within a system. A woman's anatomy, when you think about it, the vagina leads to the cervix, leads to the uterus, then leads to the fallopian tubes, and then enters the inside of the abdomen. It's no longer encapsulated. So this is why when you hear about these potential lawsuits with the talcum powder possibly causing ovarian cancer, you may have said to yourself, well, you know, how could talcum powder? It's because of what I just said. The anatomy allows environmental agents from the outside to go up through the uterus, out through the fallopian tubes, into your abdomen, which means your liver, your pancreas, your stomach, your kidneys, your intestines, your bladder. All of those organs can be impacted on anything environmentally, okay, that enters through the vagina. So I want to throw that out, okay, because when I continue talking and we try to understand, well, why could pads cause some of these other problems, I wanted you to get an idea. We're not just simply talking about a pad, okay, on the vulva. We're not just talking about menstrual blood. We're talking about anything that has the ability now to actually permeate throughout the woman's body. So that sets a different stage than what I think most people think about when they think about the possibility of the toxins that are in sanitary napkins. And I think a lot of these organizations, ours being one of the major ones, and these congresswomen simply asking FDA, please make these companies that are making these products, let the public know what is in these products. And then let them make the decision. Just like with smoking. Okay, on the side of the carton, it says what those cigarettes can do. Okay, and then the individual has the desire or not desire to smoke. Same with alcohol. Okay, on the bottle it talks about alcohol and its effect on pregnant women. Again, the person or persons have that opportunity to make that decision. But we don't know what's in the Civil War, maybe the Revolutionary War. Okay, when soldiers got injured, okay, they had to do something to try to stop the bleeding. And so they grabbed whatever was on the ground, okay, to act like, a pad or a cushion or something to apply pressure. And most of the time, wood pulp, okay, or leaves and things like that seem to do the trick at the moment. Well, later on, when they realized that those particular items, okay, could be manufactured in such a way, okay, to actually be a sanitary napkin, the problem, however, was wood isn't white. It isn't white. And people associate hygiene, health, cleanliness, okay, the dioxin in the clothes you wear. Okay, so the problem is that no one can show how much dioxin is coming out of those pads. And that dioxin that's coming out of the pads is doing, what did I say in the beginning of this? It has the ability to go into the body, right into the abdominal cavity. That's the difference, okay? So we know it's a problem, and not just dioxin, but there are other chemicals. Okay, we know that some people have pads that may have, some perfumes or some other chemicals. All of those things, when a woman is wearing that pad, those chemicals are up against her body. I'm an obstetrician for 40 years. I've been here in South DeKalb since 1981. I can't stand here, and I wouldn't stand here and say that sanitary napkins are causing this particular problem. The sanitary napkin is definitely causing that particular problem. Then there is a cause. And I have to look at the causes and eliminate those which I feel would not be the culprit for that particular issue. When Raheem was saying to me things that I didn't know, probably the number one reason why women go to gynecologists is vaginitis or vulvitis. Okay, women, they do not want to itch, burn, have an odor, hurt, or bleed in that particular area. That's not going to happen because it affects their psyche. It affects them as a whole with respect to their mate. It obviously has effect even on how they work. They don't feel like being there. They're uncomfortable. And then it affects them financially by running to the doctor, getting this cream, that pill, this cream, and then not working, seeing another doctor because they realize that maybe that doctor didn't know what he was talking about. And then they go doctor hopping, hoping to get a solution to something that is chronic and something that is actually bothering them. Well, again, as a gynecologist, I could say to a patient, well, yes, if you are douching too often and you're not using the right, material, and it could be something. And I could always say to a patient that may be causing the problem. I could say to a patient, in the summertime, if she's wearing extremely tight jeans and wearing them from 6 in the morning to 12 o'clock at night, and if she has a little yeast infection on the vulva, I can say, okay, that may be contributing to it. I can say that. But I naturally never really considered that the pads themselves could be the culprit for a lot of the problems that these women were coming to my office. I actually never, I can obviously see it and understand it now because I've done my own research and my own reading, but at the time, okay, I never saw myself saying to a patient, stop wearing a pad, okay, because then she would have said, well, what's my alternative? Okay, and I wouldn't have had an answer. So I never, and of course, and we'll talk about tampons, I never, we think about what is a menstrual cycle. What is a menstrual cycle? It's nothing more than the lining, the inside of your uterus sloughing off because you did not become pregnant. Okay? The purpose of that lining is to act as a cushion to accept that fertilized egg. And with that fertilized egg, the pregnancy progresses. If there is no pregnancy, okay, then the lining isn't needed. and then after X number of days, usually total of 28 days in the average woman, but we know that varies, the woman has a cycle. Now, that cycle is, two things are happening. She's not only sloughing the lining, but she's repairing the lining. Because as the tissue leaves, now something has to be preparing itself for the next egg. So there are two things going on at the same time. So when that blood comes out, it's washing through the vagina, and there's bacteria in the vagina. It's supposed to be there. Just like there's bacteria in your mouth, there's bacteria in your rectum, bacteria in your colon. So when people hear the word bacteria, a lot of times they want to think it's something negative. Bacteria is there for a reason. Okay, bacteria is there, yeast is there. The two of them kind of live in symbiosis. They kind of keep each other going. If one is gone, it lets the other one proliferate. And as an aside, this is why maybe if you go into a doc and he's giving you some antibiotics for bladder or something, just a broad spectrum antibiotic, and you end up with a yeast infection, the reason you did, because even though he was treating the bacteria from some part of your body, that antibiotic, okay, goes everywhere. It looks for any bacteria. And so it gets rid of the good bacteria in your vagina, and then the yeast looks around and says, nobody's keeping me in check, and then the yeast grows. So bacteria is there. Bacteria comes out. Now, in the conventional pads, the bacteria comes out, it sits there on that pad. Blood is the best culture medium for bacteria. Maybe when you remember from junior high school or high school, when they told you to take a Q-tip and swab the inside of your mouth, and then you put it on that little plate, and you stuck it in the incubator, and then you came back the next day and you could not believe the bacteria, okay, that was on that plate, okay, that was in your mouth. Well, that was a blood agar plate, because we know bacteria loves blood. Okay, so now you have this bacteria on this pad. And if that pad is not pulling that blood away, that bacteria multiplies and multiplies. And bacteria multiply in hours, in hours. So when you think about the length of an average cycle, you can imagine how much bacteria is building up. And bacteria itself puts out toxins. So when it puts out toxins, now you have toxins from the pad and whatever else may be there, there's some perfumes of some sort. You can imagine what all those things are doing to the female anatomy, whether it's the vulva, the vaginal walls, cervix, uterus. You can easily see that something could possibly happen that shouldn't happen. So with that, there's been this movement, okay, and I'm happy to be a part of it, okay, this movement to say women don't have to continue doing this, okay, there are alternatives, okay, yes, there may be, when you go into the store, there may be the particular brands, okay, that stare you in the face, okay, because they have that market share, they have that power, but it's organizations like ours, Congresswomen, okay, like Mink, okay, and Maloney up in New York, grassroots organizations around the globe saying, this has to stop. This has to stop because our health is important. And yet we know we have to wear these pads. At least let's have something that is safe. So let's shift a little bit and talk about why the pads that we endorse and support and feel should be out there are healthier and safer. Let's talk about that. You want to cut? Okay. Stop so I can.
Okay. How would y'all think about that?